What's going on, everybody? Tim from Tyrfon Orbital. So, Space Junk Sabers, got another one. Another one that I slammed some electronics into. Do I ever have to say that this is a unique hilt anymore? When it comes from Space Junk Sabers, they're all pretty much one-off hilts. I believe Nevin might be doing a Koran horn or Koran horn run at some point, but for the most part, they are all one-off, full custom works of functional sculpture. Honestly, that's how I look at some of these hilts from some of these sabersmiths like Starfall. Nick from Starfall does some really awesome one-off hilts as well. So, anyhow, this is an actual themed hilt. The client requested that it be a Millennium Falcon themed hilt. So, going in line with the exterior theme of the hilt, I designed a chassis that I feel looks like it has aspects of the Millennium Falcon on it, right? So this was a little bit of a different approach to chassis design for me. I mean, I've been putting greeblies on stuff, but for this particular chassis, I did some research on not only what models and greeblies they used on the original Millennium Falcon model, but I also wanted to get the paint scheme right. So I actually treated this chassis like a model. I painted it and weathered it like someone would, a highly detailed model, right? So I'm pretty happy with the result. Didn't put like blinkies all over it. I really wanted to be the main focus of the chassis to be the way that it looked, and you can see like details and aspects of the Falcon that are on it. So we're going to talk about the chassis, obviously, and then we will do a quick demo, and we'll talk about the outside of the hilt as well because it's super unique, right? So without further ado, let's get into Fusion, right? So here is the chassis, right? Static chassis. It does live on the inside of the hilt. It's not removable, but let's start with the top, right? So this greebly is actually a throttle stick from the Millennium Falcon, okay? This is just like a panel greebly. I've got this in my greebly library. These 5 guys along the side are docking clamps. Whoops. These are docking clamps from the Falcon, modeled it after those. So funny enough, these hydraulic tubes, they are from the door, the ramp that comes out of the bottom of the Falcon. These are, it's a completely random greebly, right? But they are modeled after the Kenner. The Kenner came out with a model of the Millennium Falcon a number of years ago, and that's what I got that idea from, right? Just some other these tubes along the side. These are like some of my regular from my greebly library. Now along the side, the front, obviously, this is a dish, the radar dish. From the Falcon, and I designed and did that one in Shapr3d. I did the majority of this chassis in Shapr3d, and then just brought it into Fusion for some final edits, right? But for the most part, what I think captures that Millennium Falcon look are the exhaust ports here, the dish, and this control stick. Not everybody is going to know what in the hell this is from. Same with the hydraulic tubes. Like nobody knows what these are from. But I wanted to get at least a dish on there because obviously, we see the radar dish on the Falcon. It's very prominent on the top of it in A New Hope. So, and of course, the exhaust vents, right? So that's where the sorry, I'm like probably making all of you sick with all of my zooming. It's hard to like maneuver with one mouse in Fusion. Anyhow, Proffie board sits here. It slides up under this lip. It is press fit into this channel here. It can come out and flip up if necessary. Around the back, we've got our battery tray. I did do an on and off emboss for the kill switch and Tyrfon Orbital and Orobesh above and below it. And just some other like random greebly tubes and stuff. These are actual grid plates that I modeled after grids in the Millennium Falcon. So I did a lot of research on the Falcon itself. Like I looked at a lot of interior shots. Like I really wanted to, along the hallways on the interior of the Falcon, it almost looks like it's padded. It's like a square rectangular pattern. I wanted to do that along the inside of the battery tray. But I just did not have the room. So I did something similar to that here in the front, but I actually ended up painting these red. So we'll talk about that when we do a detailed look at the chassis. Chassis is secured to the top part of the hilt up here. I do have notches here. There are switch mounts on the inside of the top of the hilt. I had to make notches for that. But this just slides up into the top of the hilt, secures with a set screw, and that's it. 28 millimeter speaker at the bottom here. This is from the Saber Merchant. And that's it, right? So let's talk about the outside of this hilt. Look at this thing. So, I mean, this is, it's your typical Millennium Falcon gray. Okay. I mean, again, like I'm not even going to attempt to source where some of these parts come from. Like a lot of this stuff, this hilt in particular, I feel like all of this is found objects up top. Like the core of this hilt is nothing I've ever seen. Like I've seen Nevin use some stuff from Saber Forge and some other like used found objects or found parts like grips and things like that. But all of this, to me, is all found objects. Like I don't know where any of this stuff is from, but this detail looks so cool to me. There's like a heat sink here. Yeah, really cool stuff. And the paint job is also super rad. I'm not sure if it's powder coated or what, but it just looks so good, right? So unique. Really cool, like gigantic D-ring here. I mean, it's just a really cool hilt. Okay. So as far as buttons go, this is a custom from Nevin. Nevin sent this with the hilt. There's just a tactile switch underneath this. That's the main. And around back, we've got a bronze momentary switch from Phil Guinness over at Kalymian Customs. And that's it, right? So let's talk about the chassis. So to get at your chassis or to put your battery in, you want to unscrew your grip. And that comes off. So here's the chassis, okay? So I did a lot of painting details on this. So I printed this off in gray resin. I use Anycubic resin in gray for this. So, and that was not a perfect aircraft gray, which is what I really wanted to go for. The gray resin that we get almost has a blue hue to it. So I printed that off in gray resin. Then I did a pass with Tamiya's military aircraft spray. Okay. And then I went over a lot of these greeblies with a mixture of acrylic and oil paint. So like these red squares, that's an oil paint. And some of the darker accents is a dark acrylic gray that I mixed. I did, of course, add some Tamiya weathering pigments to the vents to make it look like they've been oil stained or stained with exhaust. But yeah, I'm just like really happy with the way this came out. And again, like I didn't put blinkies all over this. I feel like my initial thought for this chassis was to get a 2020 NeoPixel strip down the side and make it look like the exhaust, the actual like engine exhaust from the Falcon, like have just like blue lights with, to make it look like the Falcon. But then I thought like it would be really cool to just get something that's super detailed and just goes perfectly with the rest of the hilt. And I think that we achieved that, right? So nice and simple, right? So here's our Proffie board, kill switches around back. To use the hilt, you want to take your battery, flat part of your battery. This is an 18650 button top protected battery. Put it in negative side towards the spring, and then you hit your kill switch. So at the request of the client, I did put some Millennium Falcon, I did put one Millennium Falcon themed font on here, and the rest is some other surprises, right? So once you get your battery in, screw your grip on, and then you're ready to go. Let's come down to the bottom here. So Red button is your main. Around back, this copper or bronze button is your aux. So,
watch this.
You just want to tap your main to activate.
Watch what?
There we go. Nice little pre-on. This is a piece of junk from Kyberphonic. Right?
Don't talk back to your elders, child.
Twist to activate and twist to deactivate are on. Sounds really good. Sounds really good. It feels good. It's a long hilt, but it feels so good. A lot of these hilts are just so rad from Nevin. All right, so let's put a blade in it really quick. So to put your blade in, there is a set screw. This is an M4 set screw up here. Just make sure that's backed out enough to get your blade in. This is a 1-inch blade. So you put your blade in, and then you tighten that set screw.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
And then you're ready to go. Let's see what else we got on here.
Watch this.
So this has been set up with, that blade style is from Fett's Millennium Falcon blade style.
Don't talk back to your Lord Vader. General Kenobi.
Yeah, really, really nice hilt. Feels good. Sounds good. Really, really cool hilt, man. So I put a bunch of just random fonts on there. The majority of them are the free fonts that are offered, but there were some font requests from the client, so I put those on there. And that's it. Nice quick video. Again, like it's just these hilts from Nevin are super unique. I'm just so I say this all the time. I feel lucky that I get to put my hands on some of this stuff because these are, I mean, they're just so cool. This is the first time I've ever seen a Millennium Falcon themed hilt. It's probably the last because there's not many people doing that level of detail creativity on hilts, right? So that's it. With that being said, listen, thank you very much for watching, everyone. To the client, thank you for trusting me with your baby. I know this has been a long time coming. You've been waiting on this hilt for a while, and it's definitely a unique and really, really awesome hilt. So thank you for trusting me with that. To the viewers, thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. And with that being said, may the force be with you always.